Okay, everyone. The Gold Fedora, Chapter 1. 28 years later, an annoying intermittent buzz filled the room. Ugh. Fumbling around for the alarm clock, he quickly found the snooze button. Silence. Mark Allison turned toward his gorgeous wife, admiring her beauty. The alternating buzz had no effect on her peaceful sleep. Her stillness under the sheets excited him. As he closed his eyes, his subconscious took over. An erotic smile crossed his lips. Buzz, buzz, buzz interrupted an erotic fantasy playing out in his lustful subconscious world. Silently, he disdained its timing, turning it off. Tossing the sheets off his naked body, he yawned and stretched as the final episode of his sexual adventure lingered in his mind. Joanne, oblivious to the annoying buzz, laid quietly. Fixated on her arousing curves caressing the sheets, he knew she was the envy of every man she met, married or not. She still turned heads. Movie star quality, her sexiness was undeniable, her personality infectious. Joanne was the perfect woman every man wanted and every woman wanted to be, was all his forever. Twirling her hair, he nibbled on her earlobe, whispering naughty suggestions in her ear. She continued to ignore his playful taunting. Her perfect body stirred under the sheets. Her aroused features tantalized his raging desires. It was a flirtatious game of foreplay they enjoyed. After she removed her sleeping mask, the sheets slid off her enticing body. She turned toward him. Her innocent gestures teased his uncontrollable quest for her. He moistened his lips as the fire in his groin burned out of control. Her delicate and firm breast gently kissed his chest, while her nipples craved more of his soft but arousing touch. With her silky body next to him, his hunger exploded. A deep exploring kiss primed her engines as they begged for the ultimate pleasure and gratification. Whispers of naughtiness finally ignited the raw passion smoldering in their souls. As their bodies collided, they moved in rhythm toward a euphoric explosion of fulfillment and gratification. Breathless, her red head rested on her chest. Her soul enjoyed the tingling remnants of pure ecstasy that lingered throughout her heart and soul. His heart pulsated against her sensuality. He counted his many blessings, not only married to her, but as publisher of the Daily Reporter. He was a rising, shining star in the company, and his future looked brighter than ever. After showering, they retreated to the second-floor balcony. Bright sunlight and warm breezes touched their souls as they enjoyed the serenity of the countryside. In a white wicker love seat, they indulged themselves with fresh fruit, scones, and coffee. Hilo and Kona, their fur babies, purred while they moved about their legs, expressing their love. Treats placed on the floor attracted their attention. After eating them, they sauntered off to the other end of the veranda for their early morning siesta. After another bite of Danish and a sip of coffee, Mark focused on his wife's perfect face, her flawless beauty. A taunting kiss floated his way. He nodded and returned the kiss. As she rolled her eyes, she nibbled on her lower lip, taunting him. Flipping her hair away from her eyes, she scanned the countryside for a moment, enjoying its tranquil beauty, its peacefulness. As she returned her gaze to him, a tempting, sultry grin pleased her eyes. "What?" she asked. "Oh, nothing, just admiring you, thinking how lucky I am, how fortunate we are You know, that's all. Nodding, she smiled. Another sensual air kiss touched him. He acknowledged her. Are you coming to the office this morning so we can plan our trip to the Greenbrier Resort? I'm excited about our first trip there together and meeting our friends. How about you? Yeah, can't wait, and I'll be there at my usual time. Um, you'll have coffee ready for me on the deck, right? Nodding, he leaned over and kissing her goodbye. Even though the coffee and Danish still lingered on his palate, her sweetness and sexiness left him gasping. Seizing the moment, a deep, exploring kiss ignited his lust for her all over again. Gazing into her eyes, her playfulness and taunting foreplay revved up his hormones. Although he was the boss and up to another round of hot sex, he reluctantly pulled away. Honey, I'd love to take you to new sexual heights, but I must get to work. May I have a rain check? Laughing under her breath, she replied, A rain check? It's not golf, honey. She winked another flirtatious gesture, pleased his eyes. Of course, a rain check it is. I'll be there at my usual time. I love you. Love you too, babe. While sipping on her coffee, she watched him drive up their long driveway. Leaning on the balcony railing, she waved as he came to a stop. He turned left onto the county highway toward Oakmont, enjoying the scenery on this lovely spring morning. He was oblivious to the black Toyota Camry following him. Although he had pulled out from a side road shortly after he left his home, the best sex he'd had in a long time still lingered in his mind. In the rearview mirror, the black Camry carefully kept up with him. Remembering seeing it last Friday and the previous Friday, the car was not anything to worry about. 2 blocks from the Daily Reporter, the car behind him inched up closer but remaining a safe distance from him. He thought nothing of it again. He was used to people tailgating him. As he turned into the parking lot and into his spot, the black Camry cruised past the entrance and disappeared. Exiting his car, he entered the newspaper, excited that it was going to be a great day. Visiting Todd Haley, editor of the Daily Reporter, was an everyday occurrence before going to his office. A knock on his partially open door, Todd's usual good morning boss grumbling greeted him. Good morning, Todd. What do you think of my column for the Sunday edition? You will likely piss off people as always, so prepare for some angry backlash or something much worse. You know what could happen. A warming sensation spread throughout Mark's head. His forehead glistened under the fluorescent lights. With concern in Mark's eyes, a quirky grin covered Todd's face. April Fool's Day, boss. That's not funny at all. His worried expression morphed into one pissed-off, wiry smile. Nothing like that happens around here, right? Still grinning, Todd nodded and continued editing his column. Just what I thought. Better head to my office, take care of a few things before Joanne arrives. Todd grumbled something indiscernible as Mark walked to his office. Entering his office, Mark fired up the Keurig before booting up his laptop. Keurig ready, he inserted the Starbucks Cafe Verona K-Cup and hit the brew button. Walking back to the press room where the presses were already rolling, he grabbed one of the first proof copies coming off the conveyor belt. Back in his office, steam floated from his coffee. After fixing Joanne's coffee, he tucked the newspaper under his arm and proceeded to the deck outside with both cups of coffee. Placing both cups of coffee on the table, he sat in a lounge chair and quickly reviewed the front page. From the corner of his eye, movement in the thick grass a few feet from the deck caught his carefree eyes. Is anyone there? A familiar loud meow filled the air. Oh, it's you, Inky. You've been hunting again. Meowing loudly, Inky sauntered toward the woods. Don't leave. Joanne's coming soon. She would love to see you. Meowing again, Inky double winked, shooting him a mysterious scowl before disappearing into the woods. A thundering steel-on-steel roar emanated from the plant. He smiled. The hum of the presses running at full speed was music to his ears. After finishing a quick review of the front page, he turned to the horoscopes, which he found entertaining and insightful. Surprised at the weird and questionable horoscope for his sign, he laughed silently about its meaning. A slight glance at his watch, he realized that Joanne would arrive any minute now. While he waited for her, he quickly reviewed the rest of the paper, making mental notes of the encouraging ad count in today's edition. 8:15 a.m. Like each Friday, Joanne entered the Daily Reporter with a smile on her face, greeting the employees with great respect. Before going to Mark's office, she enjoyed talking with Mary Sturm, her husband's administrative assistant. Having been with the newspaper for over 40 years, Mary thought she'd seen it all, and nothing fazed her anymore. As Joanne approached her, a caring and attentive smile brought Joanne much joy. How are you today, Mary? Great. How about you? Fantastic. You have any big plans for this weekend? Plans? Well, John and I lead a simple life. We need to get started on our garden, the lettuce, onions, all the cole crops. So it'll take up most of the weekend. However, in the evenings, we'll likely take a walk around the lake and enjoy the scenery. Hey, I say whatever rocks your world, go for it. As you know, Mark and I are in store for a long weekend at the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. Pampering for me and golf for him. It's about living life to the fullest every single day, regardless of your problems. You never know when it might just be your last day on earth. I hear you, Joanne. Life's short. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Mary, and you do the same. Before heading to Mark's office, Joanne stopped to chat with Todd Haley. As usual, his door was partially open. A gentle tap on the door got his attention. Hi, Joanne. Come in and sit while I finish editing Mark's column. It will shake things up as usual. I'm not surprised. After the last one, I thought we might need our Kevlar vest. Bulletproof vest? I'm just kidding. Nothing like that happens here, right? He returned his gaze to his monitor. Right, whatever you say. Well, thanks for your words of assurance, Todd. I'm sure he's waiting for me. Have a great weekend. Yeah, you too. As Joanne walked down the long hallway to his office, she beamed with pride as the many awards the newspaper had won under his leadership hung proudly on the walls. With his office door open and empty chairs sat behind his massive desk, the back door was already open to the deck, which meant her husband waited outside for her with a cup of coffee. As she walked through the office, she opened the storm door and stepped out onto the deck, breathing the freshness of the morning. She looked to her left, expecting her husband's enticing and sexy smile. However, slumped back in the lounge chair, Mark stared aimlessly at the bright morning sky. With his hands against his chest, a jagged crimson-red stain saturated the Daily Reporter logo on his white Nike golf shirt. She yelled for help. However, the roar of the presses swallowed up her desperate pleas. Rushing to him, that day's newspaper, blotted with his blood, laid at his feet. As she stood over him, she grabbed his hands and pressed them firmly against his chest, hoping to prevent death from taking him away from her, stilling his soul forever. With his pupils widening, the last glimpse of her flawless beauty faded away into the world of eternal darkness. There you go, chapter 1.